Hello, stallions and fourth graders. This is Mrs. Farnham, and today I'm going to be taking you through a slideshow of our vocabulary words for Unit 5, Week 3. Our story of the week is called Cliffhanger. So, before you start reading the story, it's important for you to understand the vocabulary that you'll be hearing in the story. And you'll see on the very first page of this slide here where it says, click here to watch a video about rock climbing vocabulary. It's important to click on this link to watch that video if you can. It talks about the words on belay and the words carabiner, and those show up in the text of the story. So if you've never been rock climbing before, I would definitely watch that video first before carrying on with the rest of the vocabulary words and our story of the week, Cliffhanger. So let's go ahead and get started with the vocabulary words. Under each word, it is underlined, and the first word is the word trekked. Please read each word with me out loud as I say it. So the first word is trekked. Trekked. The next word is void. Void. The next word is foresaw. Foresaw. The next word is admirable. Admirable. And the next word is conquer. You can click on each word and it will take you to dictionary.com for additional definitions and how to pronounce each word. On our next slide, this is where we're going to start into our traditional vocabulary slides. And the first word is the word trekked. So let's type the word trekked at the very top. And then this is where you will drag your star to whether you don't know this word trekked. Maybe you have seen it before or maybe heard it before, but you aren't quite sure the definition. And this is right here, you will drag it to no if you do know what trekked means and could use it in a sentence. The definition of trekked is listed at the bottom of our screen in the speaker notes, and it means traveled slowly. Now, this is the time where you can look at the picture or the GIF, and you can drag your star to maybe, oh, I've heard that word before. Maybe I do know it now that I've heard the definition and seen this picture. And in the last box, I want you to type, would you rather trek across the desert or through the rainforest? And explain your choice. So you would type that in this box below. I think I would rather trek through the rainforest. I think it would be a harder trek because of all of the vines and branches, but the desert seems just a little too hot and not enough water, too much sun. I think in the rainforest it would be a little more cooler with the trees above and the canopy above me. Let's go to our next vocabulary word of the week. This word is void. Now, you've probably heard the word avoid before, but if you haven't heard of this word and you don't know what void means, drag the star over to don't know. If you've seen it but aren't quite sure, you can put the star in this box. And if you definitely know what a void is, then, and you could use it in a sentence, like I said before, drag your star over to no. Now, our definition of the word void is an empty space. And looking at that definition and at these pictures, you can see that a void is a place where hardly nothing belongs. Nothing is there. It's completely empty. Maybe you have a void on your bedroom wall where you need to hang up a picture. It's completely void of anything. The question that I need you to answer for this is, if there was a void in your bedroom, what would you want to put there? So maybe you would want to hang up some pictures of your friends. Maybe you would want to buy a piece of art or hang up some artwork that you've made. Type in now what you would like to put on your void. Moving on to the next word. We have the word admirable. Admirable. It has a nice suffix at the end, able. And admirable clearly means someone that you're able to admire. And another definition for that is deserving respect. So here we have some pictures of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he is definitely someone that I think is admirable. So in this text box at the bottom, I want you to name someone that you think is admirable as well. Maybe it could be someone famous. Maybe it could be someone in your family, or that just only you know. Our next slide is the vocabulary word foresaw. We're going to type it at the top. And foresaw, it kind of looks like it might be a compound word, but it's not really. It's actually the past tense of the word foresee, to foresee. And foresaw means to know beforehand. Beforehand. Let's type in the correct definition, Ms. Farnham. To know beforehand, to foresee something, might be like what a fortune teller could foresee, or maybe a person who predicts the weather can foresee a storm coming. So if you knew what the word foresaw meant, you would put your star in the no category. If you don't, you would put it in the don't know, or maybe you have seen it. And at the bottom of your screen, you need to answer the question, would you want to foresee the future? Why or why not? I'm not sure if I would want to. All right, lastly, we have the word conquer. Okay, now that you type it at the top of your screen, once again, drag your star to whether you don't know, have seen, or know what conquer means. Looking at the picture, and after Ms. Farnham has read this word to you, you probably do know that this word means extreme defeat or overcome defeat. Sorry, couldn't read it on my screen. To overcome defeat. When you conquer someone or something, you have overcome them or a problem, and you have risen to the top, and you have battled your way through it, and you have conquered it. So I can see climbing a mountain as definitely conquering something very important, especially like if you climbed Mount Everest or Mount Kilimanjaro. What is a fear that you conquered or that you would like to conquer? I think a fear that I would like to conquer is public speaking. I've never been very good at that, so I would like to conquer that fear. I think most people would too. All right, now those are our vocabulary words for the week. So conquer, foresaw, admirable, void, and trekked. What I would like you to do, using what your teacher shared with you on Google Classroom, is to complete the rest of the slides on your own. So there's a slide asking you where you would like to trek through. Would you like to trek through Antarctica, or would you not want to trek through Antarctica? And so on, with some other places on the side. The next slide, and notice on these slides, it also gives you the vocabulary word with the definition at the top. The next slide says finish the sentences. You would feel a void in your heart if ... and then just fill in the rest. I feel a void in my heart now because I have no students to teach and school's closed, but someday we'll be open and my void will be closed again. Admirable. Now on this, what you need to do is using the definitions of these words, think about which word most closely fits to admirable, using its definition, and then what would be maybe not as admirable, going to the left, okay? So close to admirable, we want those words on this side of the screen, and if they're not as admirable, we want them off to the left, okay? You can fit each one of the 4 words at the bottom in these 4 blocks. The next slide says ABC graffiti. You may have done this with your teacher before in language arts or maybe another subject, but basically what this means is you're going to type all of the things you wish you had foresaw or could foresee happening. So here, this is where the ABC part comes in. I'm going to write accidents. I wish I could foresee an accident happening. Then I have to think of something that starts with a B. See how the first word started with an A? So now maybe I wish I could foresee something with a B. Burning dinner. I wish I could foresee that, so I wouldn't do it. C, cats. How about children's birth? Wish I could foresee when, or could have foresaw when I was going to have each of my children, which I have 2, if you don't know me. How about D? D. Ooh, I wish I could foresee maybe the death of a loved one and prevent it in some way. And maybe with E, I wish I could foresee every dollar. Oh, I know. Everything sorry guys. Everything I've lost. Things I've lost before. I wish I could foresee them so I could get them back. Okay, now let's move on to, before we move on, you are going to just go through all the letters of the alphabet and see how many things that you wish you foresaw going from A to Z. Okay, I hope I explained that well. Up next, this is kind of like the slide for admirable, but with conquer. We have conquer on the right-hand side and surrender on the left. At the bottom, you'll see some words, and I want you to If it's more of a word that means surrender, drag it to the antonyms side of conquer. And if it's more of a word that means conquer, or like to win, you're going to drag it over here, and you're going to place these on the line. Okay, so in order from surrendering all the way over to conquering. And surrendering, if you remember from Virginia Studies, maybe, surrendering means that you give up. You just wave a white flag, and you have been defeated. So think about the words at the bottom and how closely what they mean as according to conquer and surrender. Now, the next couple of slides are pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to drag the words on the slide, which word correctly fills in the blank in the sentence. So you'll do that for the next few slides. And then on slide 18, that's where you will type in your own sentence using one of the vocabulary words for the week. Finally, there is a Kahoot that will help you practice the vocabulary. Unfortunately, you wouldn't be playing against anyone. If you have a Kahoot account, you can log in. If you want to challenge one of your parents or a sibling at home to beat you in this Kahoot, you can. However you want to play it, just a fun way to review the words. So that is the end of the vocabulary words for Unit 5, Week 3, Cliffhanger. After you have completed all of the slides that your teacher have assigned, please turn them in, and then it will be time to listen to the cliffhanger story, which will be read by one of the 4th grade teachers for the week. Also, don't forget to watch this video about rock climbing vocabulary before you read the story. Thanks a lot, guys, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.